We were in Leah's room, her tiny string lights casting a soft pink glow across the walls, halfway through a horror movie binge. It was one of those summer nights where everything felt stuck in slow motion, when time didn't exist, and you weren't quite awake but not tired either. At some point between movies, around 2 a.m., I got up to use the bathroom. Leah's room was right next to it, which made it easy. The hallway was dim. Our parents always kept a single lamp on in the living room, and its warm light barely reached that far. It gave just enough to make out the door frames and the edge of the carpet. The bathroom in our house had 2 parts. One door from the hall led to the sinks, and another, located inside, led to the toilet and tub. I remember feeling cold. Not just chilly. Cold, like when you've been outside too long in the fall. That shouldn't have been possible, not in July. Anyway, I took care of my business and opened the door to wash my hands. That's when I saw her. Leah. She was at the far end of the hallway, 30 feet away, right outside my parents' door. She was just closing it gently, slowly, as if she had just come out. I froze. "Leah," I whispered. "What are you doing?" She turned toward me. Her face was shadowed, but I could see her finger rise to her lips. "Shh." Then she turned and walked down the hallway toward the living room. I could hear the unmistakable creak of our old couch as she sat. You couldn't sit on that thing without waking the dead. It groaned like it was alive. I stood there a second longer, blinking. I wasn't scared yet, just confused. What had she been doing in our parents' room? They were dead asleep. I hadn't heard them stir once. I washed my hands in the cold water, glancing at the mirror more than once. Something about the hallway behind me made my skin crawl. However, I didn't want to seem out of place about it. Just sleep-deprived, I thought. Then I walked toward the living room. As I stepped into the open space where the kitchen met the couch, I stopped short. The sofa was empty. And at that exact moment, "Where are you going?" I jumped. Leah was behind me, standing just outside her bedroom. Not the hallway. Her bedroom. Hair mussed. A blanket wrapped around her like she hadn't moved all night. I stared at her. Stared. Then I turned back to the couch like maybe something had glitched, like I'd missed a step in a dream. But it was still empty. "You were just..." I began, pointing toward the hallway. "I just saw you come out of Mom and Dad's room. You told me to be quiet." Leah's face was initially blank. Then, slowly, it twisted into something unsettled. "What?" "I didn't leave my room. I've been in bed." "Number, I saw you. You walked down the hall. You sat on the couch." Leah shook her head, backing slightly into her room. "I didn't leave. I swear. I've been watching TikToks the whole time. Why would I go in their room?" My body felt like it didn't belong to me. The air was too still, too quiet. And yet, that creak of the couch still rang in my ears. I turned back to the hallway, looked toward the couch again. Nothing. Nothing but shadows. "I heard it sit," I whispered. "I heard it." Leah said nothing. She stepped aside, opened her door wider, and without a word, I walked in and lay on the floor. She didn't make me explain again. She just tossed me an extra blanket, and we stayed up the rest of the night with the lights on. What I didn't tell her until years later was that when I stepped into the hallway before washing my hands, I felt something move past me, not with footsteps, but like air pressure. like the way a room feels when someone steps inside it. And I never said anything about the door to my parents' room being just slightly open when I walked back. I couldn't sleep in my room for a week after that. My room was past the living room, the furthest from the rest of the house. I would have had to walk past that couch again, past the empty space where the thing that looked like Leah had sat. Past whatever had worn her face so well it fooled me completely. We didn't talk about it after that. Not really. It faded into the haze of teenage years, into breakups, school, and the endless march of time. But a few months later, it happened again. Different shape, different room, but same feeling.